To be honest, the entire Glee discography got me through the 2010s, so that should just be the entire list. What up, y'all? It's your girl, Brandy Marie, and I'm here to talk to you about music. Typically music. What?
What you doing?
Making a video?
Okay.
What's up, y'all? It is Brandy Marie, and I'm here to talk about music. Typically music of the last decade that we just got out of, the 2010s, 2010 through 2019. It was a decade of a decade. I just kind of wanted to get together and talk. I just wanted to make a list of like my favorite albums. There's like 50 plus albums, and I don't know how many honorable mentions, so this is going to be a long video. I will try to make it not that long, but however long it turns out to be, that's just how long it's going to be. And if you watch it, you watch it, and if you don't, you don't. I was going to try and like rank all the albums, like from whatever the last number is to number one, but I could not do that. It was just, that was too much work. I couldn't like specify like what was my favorite, what wasn't my favorite, da 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 da. So instead what I decided to do was just go year by year, 2010, 2011, so on and so forth. And I'm just gonna tell you guys the albums of each year that spoke to me and are considered my top albums of that year. And then I'll tell you which album is album of the year for each year. Yeah? Get it? Got it? Good. Let's go. First of all, back in these days, I was 19. I didn't really listen to music like that. I mean, I listened to music, but I listened to mostly like remixes and like covers and stuff you can only hear on YouTube and like stuff like that. Like nothing you could like stream or like buy in stores, you know, like I didn't listen to albums like that. So in the earlier years, you're gonna notice that there are less albums, and then as we progress, there'll be more and more albums for each year. Now in 2010, there was only one album that really mattered: My World 2.0. And let me tell you, Justin Bieber came out strong with one of the hardest singles, with a Baby. He revolutionized the genre of pop for this new decade that we had just entered, and he was taking the pop world by storm. Okay, I'm kidding. The only album from 2010 that I fucked with really was Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. It was just revolutionary. It was legendary. It's Kanye I think I can say Kanye at his best. I think I can say that. Now for the honorable mentions in 2011, I have Who You Are by Jessie J. I literally cried my eyes out to Who You Are every time I was feeling insecure. I got Watch the Throne by Jay-Z and Kanye, one of my favorite musical friendships back then. I shipped that bromance hard. Ceremonials by Florence and the Machine. I loved Florence and the Machine so much. Take Care by Drake and Vows by Kimbra. Those are my honorable mentions for 2011. Now in 2011, I was, like I said, I was listening to a lot of like dubstep and like EDM and like trance music and stuff, like K Tronada and Skrillex and like all this other, you know, stuff like that. And a lot of like Ellie Goulding dubstep remixes. So there's not a lot of albums. So we're gonna start with Nostalgia Ultra by Frank Ocean. That was like kind of like my introduction to him, and it was literally like, who is this man? What is he doing? Like, he is just iconic, and I need him in my life. 21 by Adele. I was in my feelings, missing an ex that I never even had. I was over here, wasn't doing nothing, I wasn't dating nobody, I was just in college, just dancing, living my life, partying and stuff like that. But when I listened to her, I created a whole fictional soap opera past for myself. I had an ex-boyfriend named Julio who came from Buenos Aires, and we had a long awaited fling, and then he left me to be with Carmen. 21 was an iconic album. The next book that we have three albums by one artist that combined into one trilogy. Now the trilogy wasn't combined into a compilation album until 2012, but these three albums came out in 2011, so this counts as 2011. And that trilogy is Trilogy by The Weeknd. When The Weeknd came out, the first song I ever heard from him was What You Need, and I believe that was from House of Balloons. And I was like, who is this? Who is this? What is this music? What kind of music is this? Like this slow, like sexy, dark, but like kind of sad, and like makes you just want to get high and drunk and just cry but fuck at the same time. And like I was just like, who is this? And then you got Echoes of Silence, which has my favorite song by The Weeknd on there, Echoes of Silence, and Thursday. I know that wasn't the right order. And there was a meme that said, I miss when The Weeknd used to make emo strip club music or whatever it said. And I miss it too, I really do. It was really a vibe that like was kind of new, and I feel like it kind of like shaped the way that R&B kind of came in after that. For my album of the year goes to Mother Monster, Born This Way by Lady Gaga. I called this my album of the year because literally my life was dance, college dance. That was literally my life. And this album just had songs that made me want to dance. This is when I was into like dance music, like hardcore. I was in the clubs. I wasn't even 21 yet. I was in the clubs listening to like Afrojack and like Mr. Saxo Beat by Alexandra Stan and like We Know Speak Americano, you know, like dance music like that. But Lady Gaga had pop dance hits. Her Marry the Night music video, it was when my life was all about dance, and it just takes me back to like that feeling when all I had to worry about was when's my next dance performance, when's my next rehearsal, when that was my biggest worry. And I don't know, it kind of makes me miss those younger days when I was concerned about dancing the most and not about where's my next meal coming from. This is when we start to get into albums a little bit more, so the list will be a little bit longer for this year. So we've got Lana Del Rey, Born to Die. Man, I was obsessed with that woman. I swear to God, when she first dropped, I was like, girl, you are a queen. I don't know what's going on. I always felt like she was the female version of The Weeknd because like she was sad, she was sexy, she was drunk, she was high, she was this and that, and, you know, she was always singing about like, oh, I'm the bad bitch and fuck that and da da da. When I'm also sad and I miss my baby. I miss you, daddy. Da, da, da. I was here for it. I was like, who is this girl? Like, she is Miss Americana and she is here for it, and I was here for it. And then when I think it can't get any better, in the same year she releases Paradise, which is an extension of Born to Die, and then it's Born to Die, the Paradise edition, and we get the tracks from Born to Die and the tracks from Paradise. And when I first heard Ride and saw that music video, I was in tears. I was like, this woman can do no wrong. I was obsessed with Lana Del Rey, and I was just completely just like shook by that expanded edition of the album. So Born to Die / Paradise, kind of a 2-for-1, I guess. Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar. What I love is that it's a story. It is a story about a young black kid in Compton. You start off with Shireen. He about to go get some. He about to go have sex. I think it's for the first time. I don't know if it's because he's like, I don't know if it's for his first time, but he's like, yeah, I'm about to go get this. And then he gets a phone call. She's like, bring my car back. He's like, all right, fine, whatever. And then next thing you know, he's chilling with his friends. His friends, they chilling, they hanging out. They go into the rich neighborhoods. They stealing stuff. Oh, he's not really a bad kid, but he has to be this bad kid because the art of peer pressure. And then all this stuff, and and then he's like, okay, let's go to this party. You got to drink, but I don't like to drink. Okay, I guess I got to drink because they telling me to drink. Every song is a part of a story, as a piece of a young black kid's journey in Compton. And I mean, he's saying Compton, but I feel like, you know, like a young black kid in any ghetto area, you know, and like with a rough upbringing, I feel like can relate to Kendrick. Kendrick grew up and persevered over that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I feel like it's important for him to tell those kinds of stories, especially when this rap industry, that music is going to be marketed to younger black men, and of course young black children who are going to want to listen to rap music and look at the rappers and grow up to aspire to be like the rappers. And I feel like Kendrick is a good artist to try to look up to and aspire to, because he overcame that and now he's creating music and bringing these issues to his media platform. And I feel like that's very important album, great storytelling. I love it. My album of the year for 2012, Channel Orange by Frank Ocean. When I tell you, this is probably my breakup album. This album I can play from top to bottom, no skips, every time. It's so good. My favorite track on there, Pink Matter with Andre. Andre was flawless. Features were flawless. John Mayer was on there playing the guitar, flawless. Earl Sweatshirt was flawless. Production was amazing. Lyrics were deep. Everything was on point with that album. That album is so important to me. I hold it very close to my heart because it got me through some really rough times. So Channel Orange, that is the album of 2012, and that's final. Getting into 2013, I have two honorable mentions. My first honorable mention is Nothing Was the Same by Drake. And with this album, I loved it and I enjoyed it, and I feel like it's probably my favorite Drake project, to be honest. I think so. I love how it sounds and his flows and everything like that, but it's not something that I like connected to completely, but it's still a great album. And my next honorable mention for 2013 is Overgrown by James Blake. James Blake gave me one of my favorite songs of the decade on this album with Retrograde, and also the title track, Overgrown. And I'm just like, this man has the voice of an angel. The beats are like dark and like minimal, and like it's weird. It's like he's got weird music, but it's like it's so beautiful at the same time because he makes it just so beautiful to listen to and intriguing. And I just feel like James Blake is one of those artists that needs to be like appreciated while he's still here, because man. So getting into 2013, my best albums of 2013, I'm gonna get into another breakup album. When I went through my first really bad breakup in 2013, I had two breakup albums, Channel Orange and The Great Gatsby soundtrack. The Great Gatsby soundtrack was straight up heat. You had Jay-Z, you had Beyonce and Andre 3000 collabing. You had Gautier, you had Emily Sandé, you had all these other like artists, I can't think of the names right now, Fergie, will.i.am, blah blah blah. Like it was like jazz inspired, EDM, hip hop, pop, acoustic. Then there was Sia had a song on there, Kill and Run. And then there was that song by Nero, the one that they played when Gatsby got shot, and he's just like, Daisy, and then he falls into the pool, and it's like, ah! And I swear I get chills every time. That movie, I swear that is one of those movies that the soundtrack made it 10 times better, because when I watched that movie, the music elevates it. When you first see Gatsby's party and you hear Fergie, little party devil, and I'm just like, yes. Like, so I'm moving on because I can go on and on about that album. That album was just so good. Next album, 2020 Experience. Justin Timberlake came back, and he came back, hunty. He came back with pop hits, R&B hits, some groovy hits. My favorite song on there is Don't Hold the Wall. That's my shit, and I feel like not enough people talk about it because that's a jam. When that beat drops, that boom 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 dance, I'm like, oh, okay, you know. Body Music by Luna George. Now this is an artist I came across, well, these two are an artist that I came across. I don't even know how I got into them, but everyone knew their first song, You Know You Like It But It Doesn't Say. I don't know if that's their first song, but that's the first song I heard from them. And when I dug deeper, I realized that they had like some really good shit. It's like one of those albums where it makes you chill out. Like the production is super chill, but her voice is like so pretty and so like soft that it just kind of like puts you in this like this like mellow mind state, but like the beats, they go hard. It's like it's a really good album. If you haven't checked out Body Music by Luna George, you should. And then right when I'm ready to enter into 2014, it was a cold, dark night in December. I am at dance practice from 9 to midnight. I come out of dance practice around 12:15 in the morning, you know. I get on my phone. I'm on the way home. I'm not driving because don't text and drive. I'm on the way home. I get on my phone and all I see is this. Beyonce dropped the album of the year on the last month of the year. How do you do that? How could you do that? You have no heart, Beyonce. You have no soul. You don't care about my edges. You don't care. I haven't had edges since 2013, since you did that to me. That was the first album I told my mom, look, my birthday's coming up. I want money so I can go on iTunes and buy Beyonce. I own Beyonce on iTunes because I bought it on iTunes. Not streaming it on Spotify or Apple Music. I bought it because it was that big a deal. That's the album of 2013. Beyonce. Just the word itself. Beyonce. Album of the year 2013. Honorable mentions: In the Lonely Hour by Sam Smith. I loved him when I first heard him. I loved his voice and everything. Like, everything was cool. I feel like the album was cool and everything, but I didn't go back to it that much because I wasn't trying to be in my feelings all of 2014. 2014 was the year I was feeling myself, so I was like, look, I love your voice and everything. Your music's great, but I have to be in a mood to listen to you. So that's why that's an honorable mention. The next honorable mention, kind of for the same reason, is Goddess by Banks. And Banks has some dope shit, and this album was actually really good, but I have to be in the mood for Banks. The first album, Ultraviolence by Lana Del Rey. This album is so beautiful. It's like this beautifully sad, sweet ballad about like how her significant other like beats her, but she's like addicted to the violence or some shit like that. I don't know what it's about. But it sounds tragic and it sounds beautiful. She always makes tragedy sound so beautiful. Pretty When You Cry and Sad Girl, it's all like pretty and beautiful, and her harmonies and her voice is just so beautiful, and the production is beautiful, and it's like romantic. It's like violins and acoustics and reverb and stuff. And don't get me started on West Coast. That beat switch in West Coast, when you hear that dun 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 and the beat slows down and she's harmonizing. I literally like felt like I was falling off a cliff into something good. I don't know what I was falling into, but it was something good. The next album I'm going to talk about is J. Cole, 2014, Forest Hills Drive. Once again, I love when rap tells a story. He told hella stories in this album. He talked about his adolescence and how he grew up and how he grew up rough, and like he talked about losing his virginity. Like, that's like one of my favorite songs on the album. Like, how do you like talking about the first time that you had sex, on a song, and just making the story sound so like funny, but like at the same time it's like at the end it's a twist ending because it was her first time too, so y'all shared y'all first time together, and you're like, oh, that's so cute. Even just the intro was beautiful to me. Like, just one simple question, like, do you want to be happy? Do you want to be free? And then he's talking about all the things you want to be free from, and it's just beautiful. And then at the end, how he closes it out, and then he has, it's like 14 minutes long because he's like giving thank yous and stuff, and he's like, bitch, I'm doing all these thank yous. If you stuck around, I really fucked you. I stuck around and I listened to that whole damn track. I listened to all them damn thank yous. My favorite part of the thank yous is when he randomly just, Daryl Earnhardt Jr., I love you. And Jonah Hill, you changed my life, Jonah Hill. No, I'm just playing. I don't know any of them. I just lied. I'm like, what are you talking about? Makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me chill out. Now, my album of the year is probably an album that not a lot of people have heard of. Not trying to sound like a hipster, but whatever. My album of the year for 2014, The Golden Echo by Kimbra. This album was on heavy rotation for me this year. I went to see her in concert to watch her perform this album live. It was so freaking good. Production was insane. She was like doing all these weird like vocal things, like vocally, like, and sonically. It's a weird album, but it's so good. It's so different. It's so refreshing to me to like hear different things like from an artist. Cause like in her Vows album, there's a reason her Vows album was an honorable mention for the year it was in, and why this is on my list, and why it's my album of the year. Because from her Vows album, it's like she took different risks and different choices and made different like choices, and like she completely just like flipped the script, and it was like completely different from anything she'd ever done. Every single track on there I adore. It's like Teen Heat kicks it off. She gets you excited, takes you on a roller coaster. 90s music comes in. You're just like, what the fuck is this? But you can't help but fucking like get down to that shit. It's like the way her vocal choices, her cadences, like everything is just so good. If you have not listened to this album, please do yourself a favor. Hop to it.